Hello YouTube, this is Painter for Hire 1975 with you. This is part 6 of painting a resin bust. When we last left off, we had finished doing the hair. Now one thing that I do is I jump around a little bit. You know, I'll do most of the skin and the face, or then I'll jump to the clothing. That's what I'm going to show you in this part. We're going to do the clothing. There are a couple ways you could go about doing this. You could paint it with a paintbrush, or you could airbrush it. I'm going to airbrush mainly because I'm going to use white on his shirt, and painting white with a paintbrush is actually a very hard task to achieve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start masking off the figure. Just regular masking tape. So you just basically just put it down on the skin wherever you don't want it to be, wherever you don't want paint to be. Don't really matter how long it takes you to mask off the figure. You might need to cut different pieces to fit certain areas. There's another way you could do this too. There is some stuff called mold builder compound. It's liquid latex rubber, and basically you can use that too. And I have used that, but one reason that I'm not using that this time is there's actually a few reasons. One, I don't really like the smell of it. It's a really strong smell. Another reason is it takes a little longer. You know, by the time I could mask it off, by the time I finish masking it off, I would not even be already finished with it'd take a little longer basically to put the rubber compound on. So I just do it this way. It's easier for me, especially on smaller pieces. If this was a bigger piece, I would have probably masked it off. Okay, now as you can see, the piece and skin areas have been masked off. One thing about airbrushing white is you want to use less thinner with whites and yellows, because it will tend to be a little bit more liquidy, and it will just run a lot worse than most colors. So just use a little bit less thinner. Once you get your white loaded up in your airbrush, turn your compressor on. And just like you painted the skin, just gently, easily just fade the white over the area. Don't concentrate the airbrush in one area. Turn the kit in all different directions. Make sure you get every possible angle. if you get, when you peel off your masking tape, if you get white anywhere on your skin, all you gotta do is really just wipe it down with a damp cotton swab or a paper towel. It's not that big of a deal, but that's why you always want to dull coat your piece. I did dull coat this before I started laying down the masking tape. Another thing I wanted to mention too is I had mentioned earlier that I did not want to use the mold builder compound for various reasons. Another reason I do want to add is you have to make sure that your piece is dull coated really well with that stuff, because if it's not, and you did get, you know, a little bit that's not dull coated, when you peel the rubber off after it has dried, it will peel your paint job right up. It's happened to me various times, so I've had better luck just masking it off, just taking my time masking it off with masking tape. In some cases it works too, but I mean, it's just, you know, it's a hit or miss type thing. You just really, when you're doing this, you really just want to make sure that you just really want to make sure that you got your piece dull coated completely when you use that stuff, because it can wreck a paint job, because it doesn't just pull it off, just pull the paint off that you painted. It pulls the primer off too. It pulls it right down to the bare resin, and you don't want that. Repairing that can be actually kind of difficult and very time consuming. In some cases you got to start over. Okay, now that we got our white completely on the figure, this is something that some people wouldn't do, but this is something that I like to do. What we're going to do is, earlier we used a wash on the hair, oil wash on the hair, and an oil wash on the skin. Well, we're going to do it for the shirt too. So we take a burnt umber wash with oil. Now in this case you don't want too much paint. All you want to do is you just want to stain the piece like so. Because if you remember, you know, in Star Wars, Han Solo's shirt was not white. It was more of a cream color. So what I'm basically doing is I'm just staining this to make it look a little more like cream. I could have used more of an ivory color, but I didn't. I kind of prefer to make my colors with a wash. And that's pretty much it. You know, you just basically want to make sure that your wash is in the right, is all going in the right direction. You don't want to go too much. If you get a little bit of a puddle, just dry off your brush and just kind of mop it up. You see right here how it's kind of mopping up. If you get a little bit too much paint, make it a little too much darker or whatever, it's just, you know, use a cotton swab to kind of like blend it in. And this is a great technique. I love using oil washes. When my friend recommended them, I was at first I didn't want to do it. I was like, I just use pastels. I can achieve the same thing with pastels, but you really can't. You cannot achieve the same look as you can with oil washes. And you just basically want to get into crevices and just really, like I said before, what you're doing is you're just staining the piece. You're not painting it, you're just staining it. And that's pretty much it. You know, once you get that done, you can look at it and see if you like it, and then you could go over it and dry brush it with some more white or even an ivory color. But just really depending on what look you're going for. You want to try and make sure that you don't have too many brush strokes. The cotton swab, just to, you know, dampen it just a little bit. Blot it out. Don't push it too much. And like another thing, before you do this, also, it's, you know, definitely dull coat. Make sure you dull coat. I did dull coat after I laid down the white. Another reason you dull coat is not just to protect your work. It also gives your wash something to grip onto. In some cases, a wash is not going to just grip onto paint. So it has to grip on to something else. So you have to basically give it something to grip onto. Just want to go very lightly with it. You don't want to go too much. Well, basically that's pretty much it for this installment. So when we come back, we're going to concentrate on the vest. I'm basically going to and we're going to concentrate on the vest and shirt a little bit more. I'm going to show you a really cool way to achieve a leather effect. So I will see you again for part 7. This is Painter for Hire, 1975. See you later.